can't believe someone would actually fake say 2 penny attack cancer just for TikTok clout. We have to see how she got caught.
The journey to TikTok stardom. Overnight, Madison became an internet sensation, but it wasn't because she made a viral video. She made up a whole new life story for herself, one that was inspirational, motivating, and heartbreaking all at the same time.
My name is Madison Russo, and this is my story. I got the call from my oncologist, and they found a mass on my pancreas, and I had stage 2 pancreatic cancer.
She really looked the world in the eyes and said this at 19 years old. Let's get into how this web of lies started.
So in the meantime, I fight.
But what they didn't know was that everything Madison was sharing with them was nothing more than a lie. Everything she said was pre-researched and pre-written to try and make the story as believable.
So what you're seeing is she planned out her strategy. She planned out, like, how can I get people to follow me, get views, and make more money than what I'm normally making. And that's what she did.
Believable as possible, and it worked because she soon grew a decent-sized following filled with loyal fans who wanted to support her and her road to recovery. She updated her audience with daily posts on all her social media platforms, giving everyone a glimpse into her cancer treatments, hospital.
They heard that faking illness could be a crime. Like, is it really a crime? And can you go to jail for just faking an illness? I don't know.
Hospital visits, and also other parts of her life like her daily routine, school life, and workouts. Her fan base was composed of supporters of her cancer journey, cancer survivors, and current cancer patients. They all looked up to Madison for her bravery and transparency about the struggles of cancer, with some even seeing her as a role model for their own cancer recovery journey. She began sharing advice about
I gotta go back to that.
For her bravery and transparency about the
she actually going even further into this lie. I didn't expect someone to go that deep into a lie like that.
Her recovery journey. She began sharing advice about how she maintained her day-to-day life while also balancing intense cancer treatments. Soon she became an inspiration for cancer patients to keep pushing toward their dreams, which in itself was a good thing. However, when Madison would reach the peak of her social media career, this is when things would crumble. The never-ending lies. Just like how Madison presented a certain facade to the world, we too make choices every day about how we want to present ourselves. And a scent can play a huge role in this. My friends, welcome to this video sponsor. Scentbird is a bit of a little. Soon, she was getting handed opportunities left and right, with her popularity now going beyond just social media. She was being invited to speak at events, guest star on podcasts, and participate.
So, you got to speaking on events, get part on podcasts, and you get more than what you normally would dream of. Just off of one little lie you told. I think she didn't think this far.
Whoa, hold on.
If she was doing chemo, how did she still have a full head of hair? The math isn't mathing. LJ fam, stick around because the selfie that ruins her life is coming up next.
That perfected persona, Madison herself knew the truth. She was a fraud. Not only was Madison's story going viral on social media, but even her friends and family seemed to believe everything that she was saying. And she soon saw a chance to take advantage of her growing fan base. In early January 23, Madison opened up her own GoFundMe page titled Maddie's Fight Against Pancreatic Cancer. The description of the fundraiser said, "Cancer has been very hard on Maddie's family. Just like with any cancer diagnosis, the cost of medical bills, gas, meals, and expenses can be a burden. And that's something this family should not have to worry about. If you're able to, donations would be greatly appreciated to help cover medical expenses and to allow Maddie to focus on one thing only, which is to show that she's stronger than cancer and will beat this. Please donate or share if you can." Through this GoFundMe, Madison raised over $37,000 in donations from over
$37,303 from more than 439 unexpected donators. So much people donate that much money for her. Y'all are stupid. Y'all are definitely stupid.
400 donors, all to fund treatments and medical bills that did not even exist.
She
But no one
probably
knew that. Maddie knew how much money she could be making from this lie. She knew that she had to keep it going. She needed people to keep believing that she was sick, so she kept up with her posts. She faked hospital trips, treatment photos, and anything that she needed to make her lies believable. But over time, holes started to form in her story, and certain things just didn't seem to add up. And finally, people
where the
holes in Madison's story. Although Maddie had told her entire audience that her chances of survival were slim to none, she certainly didn't look that way. In fact, from the outside, Madison looked completely healthy. Her skin was clear, her hair was full, and she would post
anything. You're not seeing the hair falling out. You don't see her looking like she getting weaker. So now people actually saying it don't make any sense that a healthy girl would lie this far.
Photos of herself post-workout. Appearances could be deceiving, that's for sure, but there was quite literally nothing about Madison that would indicate that she was sick, especially not with pancreatic cancer and leukemia. She looked too healthy for someone who was undergoing extensive medical treatments and radiation. Comments about her healthy appearance started to pile up. Madison took to her social media to defend herself. She said that her looks were the result of taking specific vitamins and supplements.
I get a lot of questions about my hair. Like, you look so good. Like, how are you keeping your hair? It just comes down to my brand of chemo, which is oral chemo. I got really lucky with that. Biotin, collagen, and keratin are crucial vitamins that are shown to help with like hair, skin, and nail growth. But
no amount of products can stop someone from looking sick after 9 extensive rounds of chemo. Yet anyone who tried to point that
he's not wrong. I never got cancer. Right? But I have seen people on like the internet and on TV who had cancer that it look like they're weak and can't like barely move or function or do anything. And she not looking like that type of person.
Point that out would immediately get called out by her fans, calling them heartless, cruel, and hateful, with some of her fans even going as far to send death threats if they questioned Madison's illness. In Madison's eyes, she was set for life. However, with more eyes on you meant many more critics. Maddie started to receive criticism on her posts. Some people with medical
the crazy thing is, the more time you keep on posting this lie, the more time you're going to keep on getting critics and people talking about, damn, it don't make any sense. It's like, you're lying, you're fabricating everything, fabricating this and that, like, stop it.
Medical expert treatments pointed out flaws in her photos. For example, the placement of the medical ports on her body were always either misaligned or not applied correctly. And having been diagnosed with leukemia, pancreatic cancer, and diabetes, it felt almost impossible for Madison to still be able to go to school full-time and work part-time at her John Deere internship. But all this was still speculation. No one knew what the truth really was, not even Madison's own family. Apparently, Madison's own mother begged her to come along to some of her hospital visits, but Maddie refused. However, the truth became impossible to deny when Maddie posted one particular selfie, a selfie that would ruin her entire life. In early January of 23, Madison did what she usually does by updating her followers on social media. She posted this selfie of herself supposedly while inside a hospital room. But to people who truly had cancer and to professionals in the medical field, there was one major red flag: the medical tape. In the selfie, Madison had a breathing tube in her nose and tape attached to her upper chest that held a port to her body. To any common eye, this may have all looked normal, but those in the medical field began to quickly call her out for the fact that all the medical equipment in the photo looked fake. The equipment didn't look properly sterile, the wrong tape was being used, and the ports were all in the wrong places.
Nah. So, she could get away with that. She could get away with that. But now, she got actual medical field people, like the nurses and the doctor, calling her out for that. When you get the nurse and the doctor calling you out for that, now you know you're in big trouble. when they actually call you out.
And combined with all the other suspicions that people already had about Madison's career, people began to take the search for the truth into their own hands. On January 11, 2023, anonymous sources who claimed to be medical professionals called the cops, saying that there were many medical discrepancies in Madison's post and that they should check it out. And that was the beginning of the end for Madison.
So, he's not wrong. So you actually can't go to jail for that shit. It's not happening to you.
Madison. The truth exposed. With how serious the allegations were, the police knew that they had to proceed with an investigation. Madison had just pocketed almost $40,000 in donations from her fans. If what the anonymous sources were claiming was true, that she wasn't a cancer patient, she was a thief. So they got a search warrant for Madison's house. And when the police arrived at Madison's home in Beddendorf, they were shocked by their discoveries. The theories and speculations were all true. Inside, they had found a wide range of medical supplies, equipment, and pills that Madison had used in her social media posts to try and make her bogus story seem more legitimate. This was already a clear sign that Madison had been fake.
Why are you doing that? Like, you really fake the truth right in front of everybody's eyes, right in front of everybody's face. And you kept that going because you saw how much people were donating to your GoFundMe. So you say, well, let me see how far I can take it without anybody noticing.
Faking the entire thing. But the police went one step further and subpoenaed her medical records. The moment those files were in their hands, the case was cracked wide open. In her records, there was no sign of illness, no diabetes, no leukemia, and definitely no pancreatic cancer. She was perfectly healthy, and there was nothing in the files that showed any shred of truth about Madison's story. This had turned from a cancer patient's recovery story to a serious felony.
It didn't. It turned into something that everybody got sad about. Everybody felt bad for her. To now, her being a felony just because she wanted to make double the money and be famous. Just because you want to be famous and make money, you thought that's the way to make it in this generation.
Madison was quickly arrested and news spread like wildfire about the girl with the fake cancer scam. Naturally, Madison's fans were outraged when they found out. The loyal fans that supported and defended her were heartbroken. Madison was arrested on charges of theft through deception, which is a Class C felony. Her GoFundMe was quickly taken down, and her social media pages were also removed from every platform. Although Madison was finally exposed for her cancer scam, people didn't stop digging into her background, and what they found only added fuel to the flames. The end of the cancer scam. Madison had previously posted this to her Facebook, commemorating the life of Charlie Spalding, who was a teenage girl from Iowa who had died of cancer in October 2022. When this post was dug up, people on the internet were furious because Maddie was publicly mourning the death of her friend who passed away from cancer, while at the same time faking it.
I think the most appalling, infuriating, disgusting...
So that was she, you dirty bitch. So you did all of that cause that? You gotta be kidding me.
Disgusting part about all of this is that she befriended this girl, Charlie, who was actually suffering from cancer and ultimately passed away.
And to make matters worse, it seemed like Maddie had taken details from Charlie's personal cancer story and used it in her fake one. Before her court date, she had already pleaded guilty to first-degree theft for lying to her supporters to get donations. So 7 months later, in October...
So she took pieces from that girl's story that actually was true, and she definitely had cancer and died from it, to put it on her to make it seem like she's the one who was dying from cancer, to make that move out, make the oh my god.
October 2023, Madison showed up to court. During her court case, Madison surprised the public by claiming that she hadn't faked cancer for money. Instead, she opted to go for another sob story. She claimed that she had done it to try and fix her family's bad relationships.
I didn't do this for money or greed. I didn't do this for attention. I did this in an attempt to try and get my family back together.
Madison dove into a story about how her family had been broken and separated since she was a child, and that the relationships have never been mended. Her faking her cancer was her last attempt at trying to fix her broken home.
I come from an extremely broken and separated family.
even though you come from a broken family, a family that don't love each other anymore, that doesn't give you the right to fake an illness to get your parents back together. Why would you thought that would be the smartest thing you could have done? That was the dumbest thing you could have done. Not even the smartest thing. And it's not smart. Now you try with a family of faking illness.
Ever since I was 2 years old. Over the years, it has gotten steadily worse. And a lot has happened internally to our family. A family is supposed to be one that's drawn together, not drift further and further apart.
She's not wrong. Family is supposed to be one, but sometimes you probably fell out of love with that person and you felt like you don't love that person.
Many people did not believe this story, especially her ex-fans. Many people speculated that she was only saying this to gain pity from the jury. And to some degree, it worked. She had originally been sentenced to 10 years, but it ended up suspended. She didn't have to serve time in prison as long as she demonstrated a good behavior. Madison was required to pay $39,000 in restitution, as well as a...
That's all the money she made. Like, she almost made $40,000. And now she gotta pay everybody that gave her the money all back.
$1,370 fine. All donations to her GoFundMe have since been refunded
and then she
to
had
all
paid
the
the fine
donors. But
too.
still, many people believe that this wasn't enough of a punishment. The damage that Madison had done wasn't just monetary. She lied to countless people about being a cancer patient and had become an idol for survivors of an illness that she didn't even have. These damages...
You took a story from someone who died from the illness, and you probably knew that person, and you took that story and lied everywhere and thought nobody would know. But you wasn't smart. You didn't think the medical field would know.
Aren't as easy to calculate, and she couldn't pay any of the people back for that. While Madison's fake cancer scam may have come to light, plenty of people still try to take advantage of others online. Beware of who you support, and most importantly, you don't need to pretend to be anyone else.
Oh, who you support and who you give money to.
Misunderstood, so misunderstood. My temper is bad, my mission is good. I never be labeled as good. I never be labeled as mentally stable.